It's Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm Denise Salcedo, and today we are going to be chatting about AEW Winter is coming. I want to thank each and every single person that is on the stream and waited for me to log on. I know I'm a couple of minutes late, but I was literally like running, trying to get everything ready for this show. And then I wanted to make sure I came on here with some clear, concise opinions because we got some heavy topics to get into here today. A little bit of a conversation that I think some of us are going to be torn in. There's going to be so much to talk about for today's show, which was kind of what we were expecting since winter is coming. It's kind of a big show, so it's going to give us so much to go into and chat about. But before I get into everything that went down here tonight, I do want to remind you guys all that this is a very interactive stream, so please feel free to send in your thoughts, send in your comments, send in your opinions, whatever you guys want. I want to make sure I get your thoughts in this, especially because, like I said, we kind of have a couple of interesting topics, a big one that I think we're going to be very 50-50 on, et cetera, et cetera. Additionally, if you do send in a super chat, not only do you get your comment, your question, or your statement read on the stream, but F4W Online does allow me to keep 100% of all the proceeds of the super chats for myself. So I appreciate you guys for sending those in advance. Damn, I should not have ran. So I sat down here and I was like, oh my God, I'm running late. I got to go do this podcast. And then I realized I didn't have my water bottle. So I sprinted to the kitchen, grabbed my water bottle, sprinted back, clicked the live button, and now I'm out of breath. But let's get into this, guys, because we got so many different comments. We got a super chat that I'm going to kick things off with. And our first super chat of the day, I want to thank Taylor Cannon very much for getting us started here. Taylor sends in a super chat saying, hey, Denise, I just wanted to say I think you're awesome and I always enjoy your content. Thank you very much, Taylor. Also adding, keep doing what you're doing. Also, Hangman versus Bryan, though. That is going to be one of the big things that we obviously are going to talk about in just a second. So thank you so much to Taylor for kind of getting us started on all of that. Guys, please go ahead and send in your thoughts. Once again, if you want to get your comment, your question, or your statement read on the stream, please send in a super chat. I want to get all of your thoughts in terms of how you guys felt about the show overall, how you guys felt about Hangman Page, Bryan Danielson, and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to get a couple of comments here, and let's see what people are saying, guys. So get in some of your guys' comments, and let's see what exactly people are saying, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the actual chronological order of this show here. This is a comment from Major Blood who says, Hangman Danielson was a fantastic match, but I don't agree with the time limit draw. I think cementing Hangman's first title defense ever, Danielson would have been better in my opinion. That is a comment from Major Blood. This is a comment from Andrew Cook who says, Danielson versus Page kept me glued for the whole hour, and I think that might have been Dante's best match yet. Great show for me. And this is a comment from Question the Mark who says Danielson versus Hangman was one of the best matches of the year. Thank God I have fight and didn't have all of the commercial breaks. Alex Choi says, what a hell of a show. Man, I love this company. This one's from Matt Logan who says, never have 2 full beers while watching a 60-minute drive, not wanting to get up during the commercial. Oh, I get what you're saying. Not wanting to get up during the commercial. We got a super chat coming in here. I want to thank Cadillac Carson for getting us going again with the super chat saying that buckshot lariat, then the time runs out. Hope my neighbors didn't mind me screaming. What a match. Totally okay with the draw because I want to see the match again. This is going to be interesting, guys, because I'm going to have some thoughts on that, obviously. We got a super chat from Danny Leonard. Thank you so much to Danny, who says, love the enthusiasm as always. Tony Khan might be holding the suspense further into Holiday Bash. Briscoes might be coming very soon. So, in talking really quickly about let's start off with the debuts, okay? So winter is coming. I think that maybe some people were expecting debuts. Some people were probably not expecting debuts. I put out a question to everybody on Twitter ahead of the show, and I asked people, like, realistically, guys, are you realistically expecting some sort of like surprise here on AEW Dynamite Winter is coming? Or are you guys just kind of like, you know what, we want to watch the show. Whether or not there's a debut really doesn't matter. We're just gonna, really enjoy yourselves and kind of be a little bit chill tonight, because there are certain shows where people are like really talking about those debuts, man, and whether or not they're going to happen. I don't feel like this one was one of those shows. I feel like the internet was sort of like, I think people were more so talking about what people thought was going to be the main event of the night in Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page. So I kind of feel like the debuts wasn't really something that a lot of people were like heavily invested in. However, everybody kind of basically told me the exact same thing. If the debuts happen, we're going to be excited about it regardless. It's kind of like a cherry on top of a good ice cream, whatever. Okay, so we didn't necessarily get any official debuts here tonight, and I did not mind that because of everything that happened on the show. We did get a tease of somebody possibly coming, 2 teases of somebody possibly coming into AEW. We'll talk about those once we get to that segment. And then Tony Khan recently did an interview with DAZN, and they asked him about the debuts and whether or not we were going to be seeing these debuts. He basically said in this quote, and I literally just did a story on this today, where he basically said, look, don't just pay attention to Winter is Coming. We have the Holiday Bash. They got their special pay-per-view coming up. So they got so many different stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. He basically said, pay attention to all of those, because I know there's a lot of free agents out there, and, there might be some surprises. So he kind of basically said, like, if there's going to be any surprises, don't just expect them to be on Winter is Coming. So I think after reading that quote, I kind of felt like that was him sort of kind of, letting us know, like, hey, don't freak out if you don't see any debuts here tonight. Like, I got things planned, for the future, etc. We got a super chat. Thank you so much to Ray Zong, who says, beyond Danielson, who is the next big heel for Hangman to face? Is that why they are setting it up for a rematch? So, I know we'll get into this for just a second, but I really do think, just to answer your question, and I'll give some more information in a bit, but to answer your question, I think that realistically the next big heel to work with Hangman Page after Bryan Danielson, in my opinion, is MJF, especially with what they've been doing with him thus far. But we'll talk about that more once we get on with the show. Thank you so much to Roy for sending in that super chat, though. We have another one from my good friend Reggie Simmons. Thank you so much to Reggie, who says, what a show. Didn't get all I wanted, but I got what I needed. That's a good way of putting it. Didn't get what you wanted necessarily, but you got what you needed. Thank you so much to Reggie for sending that in. We got another super chat from Heidi Ho 77, who says, I was okay with them not doing any debuts, but they shouldn't have done the lights out spot for Darby and Sting. I felt let down. Yes, we'll get to that by the end of this stream, but I will agree with you. I kind of had that moment of, I wasn't expecting a debut, especially because they were teasing the entire night since the top of the show that Tony Khan was going to be making a special announcement about a match that was going to be happening at next week's show. So I guess I wasn't really expecting a debut at this point in the show. And when the lights went down, I thought, I guess they are going to do a debut. And then when it was Sting and Darby, I'm a fan of Sting and Darby, right? But I think because they did the big lights out thing, I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be Sting and Darby. I was not like, oh my God, I'm so disappointed. I did not feel that way, but I get what you mean by having a minor a minor, just a quick, thank you so much to Heidi Ho. We got a super chat from Dan Janoff, who says, another great Dynamite. Wish Hangman won. Love the Brody and Kyle teases. Deeb, Shida, MJF Dante ruled. Also love that Griff promo. I was hooked. Well, I'll tell you this, Dan, we are all hookers here. BTW, I didn't get to do the Friday show. All I got to say is I freaking loved Hooked's debut. I've talked about it on other shows and on Twitter, but let's get into this match, guys. This is it. And this is it. This is officially the time we're going to talk about Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson. Now, I legitimately have a full goddamn page of notes here. So I do not want to read off bullet point per bullet point of what went down in this match. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice quick summary, and then we're going to get into some of the things, really talk about that finish and different directions that they could have gone in here, because based on what I have seen on Twitter, based on the crowd reaction, the finish to this match wasn't necessarily what a lot of people might have expected. And now, before we get into that, we do have a super chat from Taylor Cannon who says, I definitely felt let down with the light out thing. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but I definitely felt let down when I saw that it was Sting and Darby. Who would have thought, man? Feeling let down when you see Sting and Darby. Thank you so much to Taylor for sending that in. All right. Here we go. So first of all, please, guys, let's give our flowers to this Dallas, Texas audience because they legitimately understood the assignment. When you have Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page in a freaking match together and they're staring each other off in the freaking ring, you want everybody to be hot, to be excited, to be pumped up for this match. And we got that. It made me so happy to see everybody like going nuts for Hangman Page, giving him the reaction that he deserves as a babyface, that he deserves as a champion, and then giving that heel reaction to Bryan Danielson, who has been doing some of his best work in AEW, and then also, most recently doing some phenomenal heel work as well. Bryan Danielson, whether he's a face, whether he's a tweener, whether he's a heel, whatever it is that Bryan Danielson is doing, he's so freaking good that it's going to work. And I just gotta say, right off the bat, I freaking love Savage Bryan Danielson. And Savage Bryan Danielson is what we got in this match. So Bryan Danielson, literally, probably like the first portion of this like match, and keep in mind this ended up being 60 minutes, so for a good amount of time, Bryan Danielson was just beating the living hell out of Hangman Page. Now, right at the beginning of this match, we kind of saw that how I read this was that Bryan Danielson went into this match knowing that he is, the greatest wrestler, right? Like he's the best wrestler in the world. So he's going to bring that mentality to this match. And that's what we saw. But then there were moments where Hangman Page basically said, don't underestimate me. Like, what? You think I got to this point in time, to this point in my career by being champion, by, being less than? No, there were some really awesome moments where you kind of saw that Bryan Danielson was sort of taken aback by Hangman Page. There was a moment where, let me get this part. So there was a moment where crap. Okay. So, here it is. Okay. So there was a moment when Bryan Danielson tried to sweep the legs of Hangman Page, like literally right at the top of the match. And then he didn't get to execute that. Hangman Page was kind of like, no. I've seen this. I know what you're trying to do. This is not going to work out. And he literally gives him a boot to the face. And this was that moment where Bryan Danielson kind of had the oh fuck face. I'm literally going to have to pull out everything in my power to keep this cowboy down. And then what we saw unravel after this is we really kind of see Bryan Danielson work almost nearly every single body part of Hangman Page. Like he was literally putting him all these submissions, trying to like weaken his legs, trying to weaken him. And there was times where you kind of saw that Hangman Page was trying to go for the buckshot lariat, but he really couldn't get like proper leg movement. So I really liked that he sold that. And then Bryan Danielson started going after the midsection, and this really played a huge portion into this match. Later on in the match, we see him go for the arm. We see him do the wrist control. We see him literally attack and pinpoint all these different parts of Hangman Page's body. So it was pretty gruesome to see that. There were moments where, dude, this is freaking nuts. Again, this is a 1 hour match, so I'm literally trying to get like the major points of this match. Anytime Hangman Page got any sort of momentum during the first portions of this match, anytime he got any sort of upper hand, I noticed that Bryan Danielson would make sure to kind of like slow his momentum down by like getting out of the ring or getting away from him anytime he could, because he sensed that Hangman Page was sort of getting the match in the direction that he wanted it to go. And Bryan Danielson was like, no, this is not how this stuff is going to go down. So we saw a lot of that. Then we literally, Bryan Danielson going after the midsection really affected Page a lot during this match, because any little thing that he did, it hurt Page just as much as it hurt Bryan Danielson. Like when he went for that moonsault, it successfully hurt Bryan Danielson, right? But it also successfully hurt Hangman Page. There was a moment where Bryan Danielson literally hits like a running boot. Page ends up power bombing him. He goes for the pin. It ends up being a near fall. We get a couple of commercial breaks throughout this, and during the picture-in-picture, we see that Hangman Page is essentially busted open. Hangman Page got busted open prior to that because Bryan Danielson was like literally running him through the ring post. So, dude, guys, they literally did so much. We see figure 4 leg locks. We see triangle. We see a triangle hold. We see Bryan headbutting Hangman Page as Hangman Page is trying to chop him. We see Bryan expose the concrete floor, hits him with a DDT, which is absolutely brutal. We see Hangman Page go through a freaking table. I mean, it is insane. And at this point, we are seeing that Bryan Danielson kind of screws himself later on in the match. And I think this was around the 40-50 minute mark, because you see Bryan Danielson get Hangman Page with a bunch of kicks. And at one point he misses and he gets his shin right into that ring post. And so it literally kind of turns the tables, and we finally see Hangman Page get a little bit more of the momentum in this match. Now, at this point, it's becoming very clear that this match is going to be a time limit draw. At this point, we're seeing like, all right, we're 55 minutes deep into this match. This has got to be a time limit draw. And that's what it ended up being. We see towards the end, we see Hangman go for the buckshot lariat, but Bryan gets him in the LeBell lock. After this, you see literally there's 1 minute left. In under a minute, you see him hit 2 buckshot lariats, and you kind of think this is it, and you're like kind of not really sure how much time there's exactly left. And then the bell rings, and so it ends up being a time limit draw. Now, before I get into that, we got a super chat from Matt Logan, who says, Hangman got busted open the hard way on that door. A very, very brutal spot. I love seeing all of the blood, though. I think it added to all of the aggression that you saw in this match, because what you saw was Bryan Danielson literally go in and like try to kill the guy. Like, I made a joke about it on Twitter, like, Bryan Danielson's strategy in this match was to go in and literally kill that damn cowboy. So that's what we got from that. Thank you so much to Matt Logan. Matt Logan corrects his super chat saying spot, not door. Thank you, Matt Logan, for sending in those super chats. All right, so now let's get into the controversy of things. Let's get into the topic of the actual finish. Now, we already know the match was phenomenal. It was some of the best work that any two guys can possibly do. What they did going out there and, wrestling the way that they did is they leveled up not only the championship, which is the main thing, is they make the title feel way more important. When you have 2 men going out there and killing themselves over a championship belt, it only makes the championship belt feel more significant. But they also, obviously leveled up, the promotion and just everything surrounding that. But there were some people that were not happy with the time limit draw. And the reason for that is people wanted a definitive winner. So there was 2 sides of this argument. There was people that We're totally cool with the time limit draw. It protects Bryan Danielson. We got a phenomenal match. How can we complain, right? And then you got this other part of the argument where you have, hey, I wanted to see a definitive winner, whether it was Hangman Page to really solidify him as a champion, or whether it was Bryan Danielson to sort of make his mark here in AEW. Either way, there was people that are fine with the time limit draw, and there was people that were wanting a winner, a definitive winner. Now, watching this, so this match opened up the show. And I think at that point, that was your first hint of, hey, this is probably going to be a time limit draw or we're going to get some weird finish, right? Secondly, the way that they were working this match and the way that they were pacing themselves, you thought, all right, they're going to work a long match. But I think at this point, I was still thinking, maybe it'll be like 30 minutes or so. Like that's what I was expecting, a 30-minute match. Then once it got to that 30-minute period, that's when I realized either this is going to be a 45-minute match or this is going to go the full 60 minutes and be a draw. And obviously, as we kept building and building, you realize it's going to be a time limit draw. So it kind of gave that away and it kind of telegraphed that for a lot of people. Now, this necessarily, I don't think would have been such a big issue if two things. One, we didn't just have that time limit draw with Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega. Two, the fact that this is literally Hangman Page's first title defense as champion, his first run as champion. A lot of people wanted to see Hangman Page get a definitive win over Bryan Danielson to solidify him as a strong AEW World Champion and to really solidify his run. Now, when I saw this, I felt torn, guys. I immediately felt torn. I was like, damn, this match was so freaking good. Like, how can I complain when I just saw a phenomenal match? Like, this match was so good. I don't feel like I can complain because it went to a time limit draw, right? But then at the same time, I was like, I really feel had Hangman Page defeated Bryan Danielson here, or had let me correct that. Had Hangman Page defeated Bryan Danielson, I would have popped so freaking hard. Like, even if it was in the last, final 5 minutes or the final, 1 minute left in this match, had Hangman Page won, I would have been like, holy shit, hell yeah, this is our champion. Oh my God, cowboy shit. He's the best, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We would have seen that, And then had Bryan Danielson won, I would have been like, holy freaking shit, they took the belt off of Hangman Page. So either way, I was going to have a major reaction if they would have had a definitive winner. So now, with that being said, I was pretty torn on how I felt about this finish. Realistically, I see both sides of the argument here, but as I was thinking about this more and more, preparing for this stream, because I was like, damn, I don't want to go on to this show and tell people that I was torn and couldn't decide how I felt about that. I did not want to do that. I wanted to come on here with a definitive opinion. I didn't want to give you an opinion of a draw opinion, a time limit opinion. You guys get what I was trying to do with that. I want to give you a definitive opinion. So my definitive opinion now, I had to make a choice. My choice was they should not have done the time limit draw. Now, before everybody attacks me, let me tell you why I think that they should have decided on a winner here. And even if they were going to, and I'm also going to tell you how they could have done this successfully as a time limit draw. So I do think that they should have done a definitive winner. And the only reason for that is, not the only reason, but the reason that drove my official opinion, that made me make this official opinion, is that even when you have a great finish, or even if you have a good match and it's a great finish and all of that, when you see it happen more often, it kind of cheapens that. So the only reason I did not love the time limit draw was because we already had that time limit draw with Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega. Had we not had that time limit draw with Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, I would have been totally cool with this time limit draw between Page and Danielson. Now, how they could have essentially retold this story, I think that the way that they could have redone this and essentially formatted things is, okay, I get that they want to keep Bryan Danielson strong. So this is how they could have done it. So this is my alternative suggestion. So you guys recall Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. They went, head to head, Grand Slam, etc. Time limit draw. That was a non-title match. So what they could have done was have Bryan Danielson defeat Kenny Omega when they did that non-title match. Then, when Bryan Danielson wanted his rematch against Kenny Omega could have been like, no, you're not going to get this rematch. Why? Because you are not number one in the rankings. So given Kenny Omega's character, it would have totally made sense for Kenny Omega to say, no, I'm not going to give you a rematch because you're not number one in the rankings. And that could have been Kenny Omega's way of getting out of this rematch with Bryan Danielson. Now, so then, because Bryan Danielson wants his rematch against Kenny Omega, cool, you do the tournament the way you did it, had Bryan Danielson win the tournament the way that he did, cool. But then you could have still had the Kenny Omega Adam Page match at Full Gear, still have Adam Page defeat Kenny Omega. So then instead you can continue telling the story. If you guys recall, Bryan Danielson said, I was a little bit disappointed when it was you that I was going to be facing and not Kenny Omega. So then at this point, you had Bryan Danielson and Adam Page, two guys that have defeated Kenny Omega. Now, let's say that was the story. Cool. Then you do the time limit draw here tonight. That would have made more sense to me because they were two guys that defeated Kenny Omega and then they went to a time limit draw. That would have still protected Bryan Danielson and it would have it would have made more sense as a whole in terms of like the placement and like organization of everything, because I know that they want to protect Bryan Danielson. So I think that could have been a different way where you could have still had this exact same outcome, but it would have worked a lot stronger. Woof. All right. That was a lot to get into, guys. So I hope you guys all followed that. What did you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? How do you think they should have played this? Does this hurt Hangman Page? Does this not hurt Hangman Page? Where do we go to next? Send in your thoughts. Let's get some opinions here. We got a super chat from Havon the Legend who says, love the story that was told during the match. Like Hangman's arm getting worked so he couldn't do the lariats for a bit. Any comparable matches for you? Well, that would probably take too long to answer, but I do want to take a second because Havon's super chat reminded me that I wanted to also make this point. The layout of this match, given that I didn't count the commercials, I feel like maybe we had 4, maybe more commercials. I didn't count the commercials, but we had a good amount of commercials during this first hour, of course. And given all of that, I didn't feel like that took me away from the match because, again, everything that they did in this match was absolutely phenomenal that I did not feel like the commercials took me out of it. And for so many matches, like that will happen, especially when they go this length of time. The commercials will take you out of it, but it did not. And that's only a testament to the, brilliant in-ring work that both of these guys were doing. So I do want to go ahead and put that over as well because it was a phenomenal freaking match. So thank you so much to Havon the Legend for getting in your super chat. I really appreciate it. Once again, guys, if you want to send in your super chat, you could send them in. I will make sure to read your comment, question, or statement. Additionally, I am allowed to keep 100% of all the proceeds from super chats. This is how I eat. We got a super chat from Bridget Houlette who says, I could not agree with you more. I just did not feel satisfied with the draw. Yeah. And then also on top of that, thank you so much for reminding me. So these last couple of days, I feel like the last couple of 2 weeks, there's been people complaining about Hangman Page's title run, which I kind of think is a little insane because he literally just became champion. It's been like a freaking month. And I was getting ready to tweet. I was going to tweet this. Like, had Hangman Page won, I was legitimately going to tweet, I don't want to hear anybody else complaining about Hangman Page's title run when that man just went through hell and back with freaking Bryan Danielson and still came out on top. I didn't tweet that, of course, but I was thinking of it. Thank you so much to Bridget for sending in that super chat. I appreciate you very, very much. We got another one from Heidi Ho who says, Because of Kenny and Danielson's match, I thought they were just teasing a time limit draw with Hangman winning at the last second, but I was wrong. There was a moment where I felt the exact same way. I thought, you know what? Everyone's at this point, including myself, feeling pretty positive that this is going to be a time limit draw. So what a freaking phenomenal swerve if, hey, it's like I said earlier, you're down to the last 5 minutes, you're down to the last minute. Hey, let's just have Hangman Page like win right now. Had he won after like those 2 buckshot lariats and then you just like go and he's getting the pin and it's like 1, 2, 3. Oh, that would have been sick. I think that would have been phenomenal. And it would have been phenomenal. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho 77 for also sending in that super chat. This is a comment from Pillman Wrestling who says, all due respect, gotta disagree. Omega losing to Danielson and not getting a title shot wouldn't make sense when beating the champion has already led to title matches in the past. Bucks, Jericho, Baker. That's why I said because of Kenny Omega's character, it would have worked because Kenny Omega was like a jerk. He didn't care like how, like whether or not he deserved it or not. He's not going to care about that. We got a super chat from Henry. Thank you so much to Henry who says, Denise, you wanted Omega booked strong going into his loss to Hangman. You wouldn't have supported him losing a non-title at that time, not after the Christian loss. Then they should have not done the Christian loss. So my whole thing is this is the only way that I think that they could have successfully done this time limit draw without any complaints and told the story a lot stronger. Thank you so much to Henry for also sending in a super chat. All right, guys. And I do want to say that I do agree with you too in that end. Like you do obviously want him to get booked to go strong into that match, which then again, then you just have Kenny Omega defeat Bryan Danielson. Like, come on. I just don't want these like back-to-back time limit draws, happening at such a short period of time. Thank you so much to Henry for sending in that super chat. All right, guys. And this one's from Haj Gulashi who says, no matter what, people are going to complain. Also, how do we know the story being told isn't around Danielson not being able to finish the big one? Ooh, not being able to go all the way? Might be onto something. Roy Zhang sends in a super chat saying, I like how Hangman ran out of time because he insisted on ending it with a buckshot. It can continue his story of growth since he cost himself a win. Also, to look at this in a pro way, it's like, all right, he had this match almost won. You could have definitely argued, hey, he was about to win this match. Yep. Roy, thank you so much for sending in that super chat. All right, guys, send in some more thoughts. How did you guys feel? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you on the same page with me? Are you like, heck no, Denise, I completely disagree with you. You suck. Send them in. BTW, my favorite thing about hosting a podcast, especially a live interactive podcast, is that I love it when people have different opinions. Like, I don't care if you don't agree with my opinion. I love that. I don't care. Like, you can agree, you can disagree. I love people with their own opinions. It makes me very happy because I like to have my own opinion too. And let's see what we got. This is from Nicholas who says, I had a feeling when this was booked at the first match, it would go to a draw. Not disappointed, but the MJF match made me want this as the last match. This is from Splattermouth who says, love the match, hated the ending. Justin Martin says, Paige winning at the last second would have been an amazing finish. I understand the 60 minutes stalemate, though. It was still an incredible match, one of the best to ever air on TV. 100%. All right, guys. So now let's go ahead and continue on because we still got so much more to get into here today. Winter is Coming was definitely a very newsworthy show. Before I continue, I just want to remind you guys all, if you haven't already, please make sure to follow me on Twitter and/or on Instagram @ Denise Salcedo. I am super active on Twitter. I'm almost at 50,000 followers. If you guys want to tweet me, chat wrestling with me, I'm always down. Tag me. I'm very interactive with everybody on there and I chat with a lot of people. So @ Denise Salcedo. We got a super chat from William Santoro Jr. who says, I'm starting from the beginning. Did not watch the show. Really looking forward to hearing your review. Thank you so much, William. Thank you. All right, everybody. This is a funny comment. I got to read it. This one's from Vest Paradis, who says, I disagree, but I don't think you suck, Denise. I totally understand why people wouldn't like the ending. I think that's kind of the point. I love it, guys. I love it. All right. Let's get into this. All right. So after this, at this point, we are legitimately with 1 hour left on this show. Actually, a little less. I think by the time this was all done, by the time we moved on to something else, I think we were about like the 6:08, 6:10, somewhere around there mark of the show. So definitely a little bit past the 1 hour mark. All right, cool. So we got a promo from Bobby Fish, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks. And basically the whole gist of this is that we are going to be getting a surprise next week at the Holiday Bash shows. From the looks of it, this is going to be, I don't know, this could be, I know I saw some people saying that this could be a tease for perhaps, I don't know, Kyle O'Reilly. I don't know. I legitimately do not know, but all I know is that Adam Cole had a gift box and he was holding the gift box. I saw somebody that wrote, it looks like the box could fit a contract. Maybe they're cool shoes. Send in your thoughts, guys. I don't have a brilliant opinion for this one. This one's from Ken, who says, good episode, needs more Hook. Also, so if you guys did not see this, apparently, freaking Hook, he's the #1 bestseller on Pro Wrestling Tees this week, knocking down CM Punk to number two. That is insane. Thank you so much to Ken for sending in that super chat. And the Keys Boost says Kyle is coming out of that gift box. Cadillac predicts that Zeno Hour predicts it's going to be sneakers. And there was, oh man, Cadillac had a funny tweet. Oh yeah, Adam Cole is bringing Christmas sweaters. They may be, guys. It's Christmas. Why wouldn't you give your friends a gift? Justin Martin says Kyle O'Reilly tweeted a what's in the box gif after the show. It is obviously going to be Kyle showing up next week. I did not see that. Thank you so much for letting me know, because I did not see that whatsoever. Alrighty. Here we go. Let's get into Wardlow versus Matt Seidel. This was super quick. This was essentially a squash match. Matt Seidel getting squashed here. Wardlow essentially just hit a couple of power bombs, got the win. The story here that we're seeing is this is just furthering Wardlow's eventual turn on MJF, because Sean Spears was essentially kind of being really rude during this match and telling Wardlow what to do. He was like, end it now. And Wardlow was like, damn, bro, like, let me do what I want to do in this match. And so afterwards, he gets in the ring and he basically like starts hitting Matt Seidel with the chair, starts hitting him with a bunch of chair shots. Then he gets a phone call from MJF and Spears is like, yeah, we're in the ring right now. And he calls him Maxie. And then he tells Wardlow, hey, Maxie wants you to go get some champagne for when he wins tonight. Like, go get the champagne. And Wardlow just kind of has the like, face, like he's completely over it. They've been planting the seeds for this for such a long time now, and now the seeds are just getting bigger. We're starting to see more come out of those pots, man. We're starting to see a whole lot more. That turn is coming, and it's coming a lot sooner. We're getting closer and closer to that. I actually thought that Wardlow was going to turn during this, but MJF wasn't in the ring, so it wasn't going to happen just yet, but we know it's happening. It's getting there. NC Delaney says AEW has the best geeks in wrestling. Cutler, Avalon, Spears, just great geeks. Hey, Spears is not a geek. He's an accountability buddy. Brandon Cutler is my favorite geek. If you did not see my Brandon Cutler costume for Halloween, go, because it was phenomenal. All right, let's see what we got here. We got more Hook love. Lots of Hook love, guys. We don't even have to be talking about Hook, and there's Hook love going on. Hook love. A lot of Hook love. All right, that was really dumb. I shouldn't have said that. All right, let's go ahead and this is a comment from Bearzar, who says Wardlow's turn has been like a 2-year burn at this point. I like it though, because when it happens, you're gonna be like, damn, hell yeah. you withstood everything you possibly could. You couldn't take it anymore. It makes sense. For example, like in real life, if someone's irritating you, you're probably not gonna do anything like the first time or the second time or the third time, and it just keeps building up until one day you finally snap and you're like, I can't take it anymore, and then you turn heel in your own life. All right. Let's get, I love this chat. Generation Lost 92 says hookers are out tonight. Cadillac Carson says we don't need a reason to celebrate Hook. Oh man, I love it, guys. I love it. Mike New York says Hook for president. Jesus Christ. I would love to interview Hook, by the way, but I gotta see if I can make that happen. I don't know if I can make that happen. I need some serious pull to make that happen. All right, let's get into this. Another possible Monaleek 34 says Hook alert. I love it. Okay, Malachi Black. Here we go, guys. We get an awesome vignette at first. I love it because it felt like a movie. I love vignettes that feel like a movie or like a music video. And this kind of felt like a trailer for some like thriller, sci-fi, I don't know, whatever. So Malachi Black, he is basically talking about how human nature is violent, and accepting violence and embracing violence is something that we should do because, again, nature is violence. All right, so he's a violent guy and he's, letting it, the bad thoughts, the violence that he feels in his soul, he's letting it come out. Cool. I get the point. He wants to embrace the violence. I get it. Clear, concise, and to the point with great visuals. But then we see like this creepy person with like a black mask and a black hood, and he's looking like horrible, like really terrifying. And then we see Malachi Black do, I don't know what to him. It looks like he was performing some sort of exorcism. I don't know. I was looking at that and I was like, man, as a Catholic girl, I don't feel comfortable watching this. This is a joke, by the way. But anyways, it looks like he's performing some sort of exorcism on him or her. We don't know. Person was covered in black. And then afterwards, we see him essentially put some sort of like necklace around his neck or her neck. We don't know. And then he whispers in this person's ear saying, now you're so much more than a king. And I didn't catch it right away because clearly I was just moving at a slower brain pace than everybody else. And I literally posted on Twitter, who was with Malachi Black? And I felt so dumb when I got like 100 comments, thousands of comments, people putting Brody King. And I was like, great, everybody got it but me. It's very embarrassing. But anyways, I was like, shit, I didn't get it right away. This could have been a major tease for Brody King. Now, we got the part where he says, now you're so much more than a king. We know that they are PWG tag team champions. And if you guys recall, when we were at the AEW Full Gear press conference following the show, CM Punk was asked, who would you like to see in AEW? And he said Brody King. So there you go. It may or may not be Brody King. Do you guys think it's Brody King? Do you think it's somebody else? Hell, all we know, it could be Julia Hart. Julia Hart could have gone to the dark side after she got misted in the face. And all right, let's see what people are saying. This one's from Matt Logan, sends in a super chat. Thank you so much to Matt, who says, it is now almost confirmed on Wrestling Observer. It is Brody King has signed. Okay, thank you so much for letting me know that because I did not see that. So thank you very, very much for sending that in. And then let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from NC Delaney, who says, to be fair, unless you're mega into New Japan Strong or Ring of Honor, I get why you wouldn't get Brody on the braid at first. I was not thinking, guys. Clearly, I wasn't thinking. And then someone says, Julia is not that tall. Well, you couldn't really see the height in there. You couldn't really see it. No, like he was bending down. His head was like down. His head was down. Why would you be able to see it? So yeah. This is coming from Dayala Irazi, who says AEW is too good with clues, so that King line is pretty much a confirm. Zeno Hour says Satanic Julia Hart versus Hook. Make it happen, Tony Khan. Make it happen, Tony Khan. All right, guys. So there you go. It could possibly be Brody King, or I don't know who else. I do not know who else. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we got Hikaru Shida versus Serena Deeb. Now, aside from the match, the Hangman Page Bryan Danielson match, a lot of people that were, pumped for this show, the match that they were most looking forward to was Hikaru Shida versus Serena Deeb. And the reason for that is because they put on a hell of a banger last time. So I think a lot of people were, expecting the exact same thing. And they had a pretty good match. The only thing that I would say, two things I would say hurt this match. The two things were that when you're coming off of a match like the one that we had with Adam Page and Danielson, I kind of felt a little bit like I wasn't necessarily mentally prepared to go into this next match. And I think that kind of affected me getting into this match because I was kind of like, all right, oh my God, I'm still buzzing from what we had with this 1 hour match. Shit, we just got this major tease of, hey, Brody King's coming into the company, possibly. And then, oh shit, now I got to pay attention into this next match here. So I kind of felt a little bit, I think at this point, a little bit overwhelmed where it took me a couple minutes to really kind of like refocus and set myself into this, match that I'm seeing unfold. And given that this was a match that I too was looking forward to, then on top of that, at this point, there's like a half hour left on the show. And you're like, dude, we still got another match coming up. They're still probably going to do a bunch of stuff. We still got the Tony Khan announcement. This is going to be a little bit rushed. And it was, I don't know how long the match was, but it was not as long as maybe a lot of us may have expected, but it was still a decent match. We saw some nice bridge work from Serena Deeb. She's literally choking out Shida. That was cool. We saw a nice single leg crab from Serena Deeb to Shida. That was awesome, especially because she had her like literally right in the center of the ring. So I kind of thought it was over there, but Shida ended up winning this match. Good victory for her. Obviously rushed, so I do think that kind of impacted this match a little bit. I didn't think it was as good as the last one that they had, and that's kind of about it. What did you guys think? Send in your thoughts. This is one's from a super chat from Cadillac Carson, who says, loved how the match started with Deeb knocking Shida off the apron and Shida throwing her kendo stick at Deeb. These two hate each other. When people hate each other, it works phenomenally in the ring. And Mike New York points out that the fans were drained. Dale says this match was great, like watching two babies' mamas fight. I just wish they had something on the line. I get it, like having something on the line obviously makes things more exciting, but I think at the end of the day, like when you just have two people that have good chemistry in the ring together, and they're gonna put on a clinic, like people are saying nowadays, a clinic. I don't even say that term, so I don't know why I said it. It feels like not part of my personality yet, but anyways, I used it, so now I'm sticking with it. I think because of that, you still get into these matches even if there's not something on the line. Like, let's say you didn't have the title on the line for Paige. Oh, well, there you go. When we didn't have the title on the line for Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, didn't matter. People were still hot as hell for it. Obviously different levels, but and I probably gave you like the best example. But anyways, yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Any other thoughts on this match here? This one is from Andrew Cook, who says, I love Shida versus Deeb 3. Shida's such a great striker, but she's also good technically. Deeb brings out the best of her. Great match for the women's division. Love any match that can keep leveling up the women's division. Hal Mitchell says, I like how this rivalry literally only sparked from a random match that was just too good. It was so good. We were like, bro, give it to us again. This is literally what it was. Wrestle War says, I love this match. No one could follow the 60-minute match, however, but those two are magic together. Yep, that's the best way to put it. It's hard to follow a match like that. People are going to be a little bit exhausted. You can't blame the crowd. Stuff like that happens naturally. All right, guys, let's get into this. The Culture Rot says, went to the doctor yesterday. It was a clinic. I think that the first person I heard say that to me was Ruby Soho when I interviewed her. And she was talking about this match too. And she was like, hey, they put on a clinic. And I was like, oh. And then I kept hearing it everywhere. And so it kind of stuck. Anyways, we got a backstage interview that did not go the way that I thought it was gonna go. I was a little bit surprised by this. So the Varsity Blondes are being interviewed by Tony Schiavone about the events that occurred with Julia Hart and Malachi Black essentially missing her in the face for absolutely no reason, because why would you do that to Julia Hart? She's a freaking sweetheart. Anyways, so we're seeing a little bit of tension between Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. I did not expect that. Griff Garrison is just a little bit more mad, a little bit more upset at these actions that unfolded last week than Brian Pillman Jr. is. Now, according to Brian, he's like, yeah, I still care. Like, I care, but you need to calm down. And Griff Garrison's like, no, I challenge you to a match, this and that. Malachi Black, you're a coward. So we are going to get Griff Garrison versus Malachi Black, but I wasn't expecting them to sort of not be equally pissed. I was expecting them to both be as mad about what happened to their partner, to their girl, Julia. I didn't see this coming. Did not see any of this coming. Michael Jefferson says it was great seeing Griff show so much emotion and anger in his promo. Chris Cage 2X says, will they coexist? Hopefully. I do not want to see them break up anytime soon. Never, ever, ever. I really like them, and there's still so much more to do. I don't think they're breaking them up as a team, but it just felt really odd that that's the direction that they went in for this. Felt very, very strange. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on, BTW. Before we move on, friendly reminder, guys, please make sure you're subscribed to F4W Online. If you're already here, just click that subscribe button. We are officially surpassed 80,600 subscribers. We are making our way to 100K. Please make sure you join the family here. Also, I go live Tuesdays to talk about NXT 2.0. I go live Wednesdays to chat AEW Dynamite. And then Fridays, unless I have a booking, I am here talking about Smackdown and Rampage. This Friday, I will be at GCW ring announcing, so I will be here on Saturday for a very special stream, which I hope you guys will join me. So this Saturday, I will be live at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm going to be doing a Best of Wrestling in 2021 analysis. So basically what that's going to be is we're going to talk about some of the talent that had the best years. We're going to talk about the best matches, the best shows, the best this, the best that, everything that essentially went down in the world of wrestling 2021. And I really hope you guys join me in that stream, because I'm going to need a lot of you guys to sort of help me out here when we talk about who were some of the standouts, etc. So it'll be a fun hour of Wrestling 2021 analysis. So make sure you guys tune in for that. That is this Saturday here on F4W Online. All right, guys, now let's go ahead and jump into this main event. MJF versus Dante Martin. Winner gets the Dynamite Diamond ring, the one that MJF has been holding for quite some time now. MJF comes out, cuts a phenomenal promo basically saying, hey, Texas, your daughter swallows. And then he goes on to say, maybe you guys would like me if I was a college graduate and into incest. Then he says, he mocked CM Punk's promo that he did last week, and he basically says, like, CM Punk, all you had was 10 minutes of making fun of another sports team. I love that. I freaking love that. Then he makes Ryback trend. So if you're going on Twitter, if you didn't watch this show and you're like, why the hell is Ryback trending? Well, you can thank MJF for that, because he basically tells CM Punk that he's had a series, that he's been undefeated in a series of matches with a bunch of underwhelming opponents. And he says, I thought you were just trying to be the new Ryback. Bearing Ryback, and now Ryback is trending. When I checked, he was trending at number 11 on the top 25 on United States trends. He goes on to say he's the only young talent that matters. And then we get into this match. Some highlights of this match. Dante. I feel like Dante basically says, oh, you think this is cool? Well, wait till you see what I do next. Dante pretty much went into this match and was just like, dude, let me show you what I can do. And he showed us what he can do. He had a lot of awesome spots during this match. There was a moment where Dante literally just knees him MJF right in the face. That was pretty brutal. There was a spot where Dante gets tossed out, and this is literally like the edge of the barricade, and you literally see Dante Martin's face just go like splat into the barricade. It looked terrible. That looks sick. Horrible. After this, we see Dante do an awesome crossbody on MJF. We see a killer Tope con Hero over the turnbuckle. So if you see that spot, it looked really phenomenal. Really good stuff. The only spot that I did not like that we saw here, because I think Dante Martin just kind of either overshot it or MJF wasn't in the right spot. It just did not look good, was that springboard shooting star press. That did not come out the way that they were hoping. He barely got MJF on that one, so that one did not look good. But everything else essentially looked good. Ricky Starks comes out, essentially cost him the match. MJF wins. And my favorite part was when commentary tells Taz, what are you doing? And Taz is like, what are you talking about? I'm here doing commentary. That was phenomenal. BTW, shout out to Taz, who I officially think is my favorite current person in wrestling commentary right now. I think Taz is my favorite right now, alongside Pat McAfee, because I think Pat McAfee's hilarious too. They're my favorite as of right now. Anyways, fun match. We saw a lot from Dante Martin. Good stuff. I didn't think it was like a great match by any means, but it was definitely fun. But here's the other thing that we were talking about earlier on the stream, was that after this, we saw the lights go down, and a lot of people may have thought like, hey, this is going to be a surprise. This is going to be a debut of some sort. It wasn't. It was Sting and Darby, and they come out and essentially go at it with FTR. CM Punk comes out, and then it is revealed. So when CM Punk comes out, you see MJF and FTR bounce. They get out of the ring, and then it is revealed that the match, the big announcement, is that we are going to have FTR and MJF versus Darby Allin, CM Punk, and Sting. So that is going to be a big matchup, which is going to be taking place next week. I can't wait for that match. That's going to be really freaking exciting. But there you go. That was AEW Dynamite. Before I wrap up the stream, guys, go ahead and send in any final thoughts. If you want to send in any final super chats, now is the time to do so that it won't come in right as I end the stream. So this is last call for super chats, last call for final thoughts. Get them in here. Also, before I go, friendly reminder, do not forget to check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. I have an interview up there with Jonah, the former Bronson Reed. I have an recent interview with Mickie James, who was just phenomenal. Recent interview with her, lots of other videos, and I am working on possibly getting another AEW interview. I'm in the works right now with that, and I'm also in the works of getting a pretty interesting WWE interview, which I hope works out. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. So I'm in the process of both of those things. So we'll see how that goes. So make sure you guys go over to youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Check that out. We got a super chat from Andrew Cook, who says, this was Dante's best match yet, but my favorite thing is that he has worn his Brody Lee tribute armband all year. That respect deserves respect. Well said, Andrew. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because I don't think I've brought that up on any show. So I feel that definitely needs to be brought up. And I do feel like, I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that they felt this was Dante's best match. So you can't really argue with that. I don't think so. Thank you so much, Andrew, for sending in a super chat. All right, guys, there you go. That was pretty much the show. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Do not forget to give this video a like. If you enjoyed this show, guys, please do me a favor. Please tell your friends about it. Tweet about it, please. I will retweet you. I retweet a lot of people who promote my shows. Without you guys helping me spread the word, that is how this podcast will grow. And my goal for 2022 is to literally make this one of the top wrestling podcasts. I'm one of the only people doing a one-person stream, let alone a one-woman stream. Very, very rare in the professional wrestling world. So please help me continue growing that. Spread the word. If you liked it, if you hate it, don't tell anybody. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys on Saturday for that Best in Wrestling of 2021 show. Until next time, bye everybody.